Guatemala is the heart of the Mayan world, and its rivers are the lifeblood of the Mayan heart. Rivers born in mountain cloud forests cut deep gorges en route to the Caribbean Sea or Pacific Ocean. Steep canyon walls act as natural barriers to slash and burn agriculture and cattle ranching, Guatemala's leading causes of deforestation. And for the adventurous, jungle canyons enclose some of the world's most spectacular whitewater rivers. Despite its abundance of world-class rivers, Guatemala remains relatively unknown in the river running community, the result of a 30-year-long civil war. The 1996 peace treaty may have ended the fighting, but horrific memories still haunt those most affected, the Mayan people. 200,000 lost their lives. 83% of the dead were Mayan. People often ask me, why Guatemala? And it always comes from people who haven't been there. Guatemala is a location for an Indiana Jones movie or a National Geographic photo spread. The October '89 issue of National Geographic caught my attention when it highlighted the Mayan world's ecotourism potential, including the most extensive remains of an ancient civilization found anywhere in the world, and the largest and most biologically diverse rainforest north of the Amazon basin. The descendants of the ancient Maya practiced century-old customs and traditions, including the blending of Catholicism with Mayan gods. Colorful clothing can be traced back to the 16th century and the Spanish conquest. Colonial Antigua, Lake Atitlan, active volcanoes, and Pacific and Caribbean coastlines place Guatemala among the world's top travel destinations. And for me, it was a perfect place to combine my passion for river running with exotic travel. In 1993, I started Area Verde Expeditions and began taking paying customers down Guatemala's wild rivers. The legacy of war, travel warnings, and other setbacks made Guatemala a challenging place to make a living. By the spring of 1998, I had to make a difficult decision. Area Verde Expeditions was out of business. I had dreamed of building a riverside base camp, a place that would become the focal point for the preservation of wild rivers. That dream ended. Then in August 2011, I spoke with Roberto Rodas, my river exploring amigo from the 90s. The Guatemalan government had plans to dam many of the country's wild rivers, including the recently discovered Rio Copon. 2 months later, I packed a camera and river equipment, then boarded a plane for Guatemala City. What will be lost if the Rio Copon is dammed?
Thinking on the natural beauty of the canyon is going to be lost because it's a pristine area. It's one of the last remains of pristine jungle left in the area because there are steep walls, so it's very hard for the locals to use it for agriculture. But this one section specific that both walls of the canyon almost meet, only for maybe 20 meters they don't meet together. And it's an explosion of waterfalls coming together for about 200 meters long. It's one of the most beautiful places I have been in Guatemala. So either river get dammed and we are going to lose that. And it's something very special. And we have that in that river. In the years to come, population of Guatemala is going to grow up. The demands on land are going to be more. Water is going to be an issue. So I see the role of RIOS Guatemala is more like an effort to help to not only preserve, but also to recover some of the rivers we already lost.
Greg Swendinger, an American living in Guatemala, added his notoriety as one of the world's premier river explorers.
The Rio Capone is the top. It's the peak of rivers in this part of the world. It's a river right out of your dreams. If we lose the Rio Capone, we're losing one of the best protected, most pristine stretches of natural corridor left for the wildlife, for the biodiversity of the area.
Greg's website provides valuable information on the whitewater rivers of southern Mexico, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. One post gave us something to think about as we planned the Rio Capone expedition. The Capone was still several months away, and we had other rivers to explore. 37 separate volcanoes gather seasonal rains along Guatemala's Pacific coast. And beyond the volcanoes, rivers carve canyons through coffee plantations and shelter corridors of intact rainforest. Greg's discovery of the Rio Nilo adds yet another Pacific Coast gem. Unfortunately, many of Guatemala's wild rivers are threatened by a government plan to build 20 hydroelectric dams within the next 20 years. This includes the construction of the Xela Dam, which would flood canyons on both the Capone and Chixoy rivers. Although the government claims that these dams are necessary to supply increasing energy needs, the Mayan people are justifiably skeptical. The depth of their mistrust lies in the still waters behind the Rio Chixoy Dam. When the Mayan people of Rio Negro refused to abandon their homes and make way for the new dam, soldiers and civil patrols marched unarmed civilians up a nearby peak and massacred 177 people. All but 7 were women and children. More massacres followed. Within weeks, 440 lay dead. It's highly unlikely the poor will ever see electricity delivered to their homes. Instead, extractive industries will expand into new regions. Foreign investors will reap the profits, while the poor remain powerless. Rivers won't be saved by preventing hydroelectric projects alone. 51% of Guatemala's population lives on less than $2 a day. It's no wonder the Maya slash and burn forests to plant corn.
Our population is making the same mistake Mayans did 1,200 years ago. Using so much the resource is calling a process of desertification is happening in our country, cutting the forest to plant corn and beans.
We were doing a combination backpacking river trip and saw quetzals in the Yalihush cloud forest. Then the trail emerged into something that looked like a war zone. The forest was gone. We had the opportunity to speak with the Kekchi family there, so I spoke with the father. I asked him, were there any jaguar in his area? And he goes into his hut and he brings out a skull and a paw, and he shows it to me, and he says, yeah, we burned him. Somehow they trapped him in an area and set a fire and burned the jaguar. I said, well, why did you kill him? He was eating my chickens. So if you need to eat, you're going to kill an endangered species.
Now we have a few surf instructors who are locals. The manager of the surf camp, it's a local kid. All these people now living from the surf camp, which opened new opportunities for these people. What we would call, let's say, ecotourism. People living in the nature, benefiting from nature, taking care of natural resources.
ADETA significa Asociación de Desarrollo de Turismo Ecológico Saquijá. Entonces somos un ecoturismo, trabajamos en la comunidad, somos parte de la comunidad y trabajamos con los turistas extranjeros y nacionales, ¿va? Más que todos los extranjeros que vienen de otros países, han llegado de diferentes países, como de Francia, de Inglaterra, de Estados Unidos, de muchos países. Gracias a Dios, desde que empezamos y hasta ahorita, Todo bien está yendo nuestro trabajo. Antes no sabía qué era significa rafting, qué era lo que pasaban en el río, jugando, gritando en la corriente. Bueno, gracias a Dios ahora me dedico de eso y me encanta. Porque antes, digamos, limpiar una cuerda, solo ganamos 15 quetzalitos, 15 quetzales. Entonces, ahora estamos trabajando de turismo, un viaje de rafting, si es largo, 200 quetzales, un viaje. Ajá, ahorita se cambió mucho, porque si sigamos de agricultor, sigue lo mismo.
Roberto and Greg were on board with RIOS Guatemala, and a connection with Adeti's Quechua guides had been established. However, Roberto's lifestyle as an international guide kept him on the move for months at a time. Greg is an American citizen. Another Guatemalan was needed to lead the river preservation fight. I received an email from Max Baldetti, a Guatemalan river guide who had lived in California as a child. Max wrote about how a book entitled How to Save a River had inspired him and helped form his vision of Eco RIOS Guatemala. He went on to describe a riverside base camp, a place for recreation, research, educational opportunities, and river preservation efforts. At that moment, I knew Max was the leader we needed. Luis Enrique, affectionately known as Kike, is Max's go-to man for logistical support and would drive one expedition truck. His photography skills were an added bonus.
This happened to me in Chiapas. Just got rolled onto a rock and tried to fight the rock, and the rock won and dislocated my shoulder. So unfortunately, I'm out for the fun part of this documentary, which is actually running the rivers.
After Greg's injury, I became the guy with the river expedition. My message, welcome aboard, but accept that the Rio Capone presented unique challenges.
The thing about the rivers here in Guatemala that is so striking and so appealing, and I think drew me back, is the turquoise, the deep turquoise greenish color of the water.
It feels like a very special place because it's just the rivers moving through, whether it's rapids or flat water, and it's just walled in by these amazing rocks. So it's almost like you're on a natural water slide.
Hi, I'm Nils from France. I'm now living in Guatemala, and I've waited all a long year to paddle for the first time, and that's a really beautiful river. I'm really enjoying the trip.
Wonderful day.
You've run the Calabone before.
See? With Paul and Area Verde probably 15, 16 years ago. So that was a lot of fun then, and it's a lot of fun now.
When I saw I was right there, kind of in the meat of it, I tried to push forward, but that hydraulic was just way, way powerful. And the rapid just said, come back here, mama, come back. And it pulled me back in, and I just rolled out the back and went for a swim, went very deep, very, very deep. Humbled by the river. It likes to spank you every once in a while.
Before tackling the Rio Capone, we had a classic Guatemalan adventure to enjoy. The Highlands to the Sea expedition follows streams that tumble from mountain cloud forests and gather strength and become powerful rivers. Lake Isabel gathers these waters and releases it through the Rio Dulce's jungle canyon and finally to the Caribbean Sea. The road drops through Quechua Maya villages en route to the lowland jungle. We arrive at one of the world's most beautiful river environments, Subt Champay. Subt blends tranquility and power, one atop the other. The Calabone River plummets under a natural travertine bridge, certain death for any boater who isn't sure about the put-in. The travertine pools above the underground river give no hint of the power that lies below. Subt Champay lies just over the mountains from the village of Lanquin, a river runners and travelers' haven on the banks of the Lanquin River. Our day in the Lanquin begins right where it emerges from an enormous limestone cavern. The Lanquin joins with the Rio Carbon, named by Paddler magazine as one of the 12 best jungle river trips in the world. The Carbon takes boaters on a 3-day journey into the land of the Kekchi Maya. Class 3 and 4 rapids, hot springs, limestone caverns, and abundant bird life make the Carbon an unforgettable adventure. The Carbon was first established as a river running destination in the late 1980s and is Guatemala's most well-known whitewater river. While experienced boaters will find some challenging Class 4 rapids, travelers with no previous whitewater experience can join a commercial rafting trip.
Love it! We're just loving it here at the Carbon River. This is the third day, third section of the river. It's just amazing with some hot springs, some caves, and then just an awesome crew.
Woo! Awesome! Yeah! Great run!
We leave the Carbon behind and arrive at Hugo's Eco Hotel, a relaxing retreat on the shores of Lago Isabel, Guatemala's largest lake.
You get the students to come along and start getting just something going, something small, but that starts impacting the river in a positive way.
It's kind of a respect thing. You need to tell them that you want to help because you think things could be better. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
The short drive brings us to the hot springs waterfall at El Paraíso. 2 streams converge, one with the cool waters from a limestone cave and the other pouring from the surrounding jungle. The perfect hot water massage.
This is one of the most incredible canyons that I've ever seen, and I've been in a lot of river canyons. It's like you're in a cave, except you can actually see sunlight and there's trees up above, and I mean, the river is clear. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a cave just over there in the wall that they said they do like Mayan ceremonies and whatnot, so it's really cool to be here and experience it, especially in 2012.
The Rio Carbon, Lake Isabel, and the Rio Dulce combine to make a water freeway from the highlands to the Caribbean Sea. All manner of watercraft find sanctuary along the Rio Dulce. This protected inland waterway serves as a safe haven during the hurricane season and provides habitat for more species of birds than the United States and Canada combined. And for those with a spirit for a sailing adventure, just 30 miles offshore from Livingston lies the world's second largest barrier reef and scores of Caribbean islands. Even though the Rio Dulce is a national park, lines in a map often hold little meaning.
This iguana here was just captured inside the National Park of Rio Dulce, and we bought it after they captured it for less than $2. The only reason why they didn't want it is because they see that little leg right there, and they say it's a little bit too skinny. So, all right, iguana, go back to nature. There it goes.
We retraced our Carbon River journey by backcountry road, driving through the mountains to resupply for the next big adventure, the Rio Carbon expedition. The first priority was to check in at Adetes and get an update from Eliseo, our Kekchi translator.
¿Has hablado con la gente cerca del río Carbon?
no están muy de acuerdo porque están pensando, están un poco preocupados, ¿va? Porque no se sabe qué es el que viene en nuestro futuro. Entonces, yo platiqué con ellos en quechí, como nuestro dialecto maya, ellos también hablan quechí, entonces estuve explicando de nuestro proyecto y pidiendo el permiso para que nos den permiso de entrar al agua.
Eliseo also told me that he was now taking classes, the result of his increased income from river guiding, and wouldn't be able to join us on the Rio Capone. Instead, Jaime Zert, another guide with Adetes, would be our Quechua translator.
Otra fuente de mi trabajo y antes yo no tengo trabajo así, solo en la milpa, trabajando, sudando, pero en cambio ahí solo trabajar sobre el río, nadando, con el frío.
Para mí que el río es más importante, para que nuestros hijos tengan trabajo en los futuros. Aquí ya no hay más trabajo, por eso queremos reservar el río Cabo.
Max, we're getting closer to launching on the Rio Capone. We've still got some obstacles to get through.
Yeah,
How's it looking?
The stuff that we've heard is that at the community where we're going to meet up, the people are kind of not interested in people coming by because they now approved some dams. So they're really pushing people away. Jaime is a really key person because he's going to be able to tell people how rafting did something for his life.
Josh. Peter, how are you feeling? Feel better? ¿Cómo estás? Niels? Mucho gusto.
The communities we are going to visit, Santa Maria Zarahuaca and Zarahuaque 1, had a lot of problems with the hydroelectric plant, so we had to be very careful what we say there. Basically, we are just tourists. Okay, that's the word they will understand in Quechua is tourist. We cannot mention any relationship with the government or any other organization. That's what I'm going to talk with the people is if we can run the river, if we can get help to get all the equipment down to the river or to camp there. I don't know what you think. Let's go? Okay.
We need to get as together as possible and go fast because this is the bill with the town where we could have problems. Yeah. Okay, that's it. We need to stick together and go fast.
Buenas tardes.
Pues tenemos mucha pena, nos da mucha pena.
Yo entiendo. Yo les expliqué a ellos eso. Como cuando vine hace 5 años, nuestro objeto es turismo, es disfrutar del río. Nadie tiene que ver nada ni con mineras ni con hidroeléctricas.
Tal vez ustedes han venido trabajando hace 20 años, pero ustedes acostumbrar donde la gente, donde no están organizadas, tal vez están desorganizadas. Aquí las 86 comunidades están organizadas. Por eso nosotros mismos, los dueños de este territorio, vigilamos para que nadie puede.
Por eso venimos a conversar con ustedes.
Es el primer viaje y último viaje que vienen a hacer.
Trying to keep them in their mind that we're not going to harm them or the environment. And maybe in the future we can be a help and help by the dams or the mining. The big fear now for them is mining. So what they, unfortunately,
Pasa mejor adentro, vamos a platicar y mejor platicamos de una vez.
Sí, they want to talk.
The crowd that kept getting larger and larger and larger, and it was getting later and I was starting to get a little worried. When he was speaking to everyone and it felt like a trial, he was talking about what was going to happen to us and what should they do with us.
We were scapegoats. You know, we put ourselves in a position where they could take out on us the huge frustration and anger that they feel towards the government, towards corporations, you know, the power companies and all that. And we've kind of walked right into the middle of this. So a strong temptation, I think, to be able to take that out on people.
The first time when the guy told us that we had to pay 50,000 quetzals and or they would burn the cars. Now there I got scared because, you know, people changed their mind. Instead of thinking about people trespassing, they were thinking that they could get money.
There's mobs that wanted to extract some vengeance upon us.
They brought out some rope, and then the main person, the head dude, did something like this, and then I didn't have to speak Spanish to understand that.
What Max did when he offered to stay and let everybody else go, and that we would go and get the 50,000 quetzals that they wanted as a fine for being there. And Max said he could stay while we went and collected the money. So I thought that was probably one of the bravest things I'd ever seen, because there were people in the crowd that were calling to burn them, hang them, kill them.
He stepped right into the middle of the mob and just put it out there, very forthrightly, very clearly, and you know, with complete conviction. Very, I mean, just really impressive.
Max has just offered his life for us. I'm about to cry. That's how profound that was. You know, that tells you a lot about Max.
And then he would just start to speak from the heart, and it was amazing. I mean, to see the change, to feel the change in the energy from really tense, the people are like, we want to burn you, kill you, you know, all this stuff, and then to see them just start to listen to the things that he was saying, because he was really speaking from the heart.
In Cerro Guatayuno, thankfully, you know, it resolved itself when they came back and they dropped the demand for money. I remember, you know, these words, no queremos ni un centavo de ustedes, was, we were stunned, completely stunned. We don't want even a penny from you.
Fírmanos un acta y ustedes se pueden ir. Bueno, pensamos nosotros, vaya, pues salió fácil. Hicimos todo eso, llenamos el acta. Cuando salimos ya teníamos un pick-up adelante bloqueándonos la salida, así que nos tuvimos que ir en caravana hacia la otra comunidad.
Here's the fate of these people who have violated our rights. It's, you know, this was the judgment, it was announced, and they read to everybody, you know, what the acta said, laying out kind of, you know, what their rights were, how we violated them.
Seguimos a la siguiente comunidad, que es la comunidad más grande del área, La Taña, y ahí nos estaba esperando una cantidad grande de gente.
We went through a corridor of people, hundreds upon hundreds of people lining the road. It was like, okay, this is going to be a very serious stop.
It's really, really, really hard feeling when you start thinking about them. Under the rain, surrounded by people with machetes and things, and you're just there like, I want to go home, I want to be with my family, and it's up to them to let you go. I don't know if people would understand what goes through your mind. The moment when you say, we're not making it out of here, and this is it. I just hope they are going to do it fast.
When a man came up, running up to the truck, and I'm in the front passenger side, and he's screaming at us to get out of the truck now, ahorita, and we weren't moving fast enough, I guess, and he pulled his machete out and was brandishing his machete.
It's too recent, and I still have those thoughts. I had a hard time to sleep and thinking about this.
They got a hold of Jaime and started roughing him up. And that was a very conflicted situation for all of us, because we knew Jaime might be harmed. He could even be killed.
actually seen people with the bottles of gasoline. Now, we were in the middle of nowhere, and they managed to get there with the things of gasoline, and they were threatening Jaime. You know, they put their hands on him. He said, like, we're going to put some gasoline on you, and we're going to set fire.
Que usted, este cabrón, aquí vamos a matar, aquí vamos a linchar.
We're sort of helpless. We're surrounded by all these people with machetes, and a very unnerving situation, worried for his safety, but being unable to really respond, to being powerless.
A quemar por culpa de él, porque usted viniste cabrón. Y hasta me dijeron, sos brujo, me dijeron. No, yo soy brujo. Sí, algunos, pero no todos, ¿va? Entonces yo le dije, no hay un problema, vamos a explicar todavía, ¿no? Cuando ya recibí un vergazo, vamos a explicar todavía, que está mi foto, no hay problema, va, entendiendo la gente.
Pero pensamos, reclamamos a este grupo que nos acaba de dejar de ir, que ha estado amenazándonos de muerte, o nos vamos. Entonces tomamos la decisión de irnos. Seguimos manejando con la idea de que en Lancetío, que es la comunidad más grande de toda la región de la zona reina, nos iban a estar esperando más gente. Afortunadamente cayó un aguacero impresionante que a toda la gente la corrió, así que seguimos pasando por las siguientes comunidades y sin ningún problema. Logramos salir del área, al menos con nuestra vida íntegra.
If they had gone up there to get us, it would have been bloodshed. It would have been all-out war. I don't think we would have survived that. So I'm actually glad that they did wait for us to get out of there. I felt it was nice to have that escort all the way back. We still had a long ways to go. And it was nice to have that escort and that show of protection.
I'm heartbroken in some way, because I'm a Guatemalan as well, and I also want to protect the river, but I don't react the way they reacted. And in the past years, all I've tried to do is try to help community development through outdoor sports. And so seeing this and them not having any understanding, and just not understanding the fact that we were an opportunity and that we were coming in peace, that really, and that they see you as something to destroy and not something to pay attention to, is heartbreaking.
Fortunately, everybody got out alive. That's the main thing. Unfortunately, all the documentation, the film work that we've done on this trip was stolen. My bag was stolen out of the truck, and at this point we're back to ground zero with a promotional film about river conservation in Guatemala.
Y fueron trasladados a Alta Verapaz. Todos los que estamos involucrados somos que están fijando, se cumpla con salir, ¿verdad? La gente del área está muy preocupada por el tema de las minerías y las hidroeléctricas, y de hecho ese fue prácticamente el problema, ¿verdad? Que nos confundieron.
Wow, a breath of life is back into all of us. Yeah, excellent. Great news, my God. Here we go again. It's been an emotional roller coaster, no doubt about it.
I just got a call from the governor, so they're just gonna give the order, and then we'll see what the reaction of the community is. Now the plan is that we can't go because of the weather, because of time, because we can't get the helicopter, because it's too risky for us to drive up there. And so now they're gonna send vehicles to pick up the stuff and bring it back to Cuba.
Here's the incisive moment, and we'll see what happens, huh?
Yeah,
whether the community leaders will give it up or not.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Community leaders refuse to return the stolen items to the government. Instead, Max and I will return to Campamat. The incident had become a test for the new administration. which promised an iron-fisted approach to improve security. It was also an opportunity for the local Mayan people to showcase their opposition to dams and mines. We're relieved to finally be en route, apprehensive about returning to the same people that held us captive. And beneath us, a reminder of our mission. Steep river canyons shelter the only undisturbed rainforest. This is the Zona Reina, one of the most remote regions in Guatemala, yet everything but river canyons was being converted to cornfields. We approach Campamac and expect to see police and armed forces, a sign of the government's promise to improve security. Instead, Kekchi villagers rushed to the landing site. The same people that had been ready with ropes and gasoline 5 days earlier now greeted us with hugs and handshakes. Instead of being forced to a central plaza and a mob set in vigilante justice, we gathered together to hear community leaders apologize and open the region to tourism.
Vamos a brindarle un fuerte aplauso a estos señores que están acá con nosotros. Aprovecho el tiempo entonces las disculpas por el incidente que hubo la semana pasada, porque realmente nuestra gente o la zona reina no supo diferenciar turistas con personas de minería. Se va a crear la oficina de turismo aquí en la zona reina para que las personas que nos visitan de otros países y también de otros departamentos, que con mucho gusto son bienvenidos.
Para que nos perdonen, nos disculpen.
Congressman Galdame went on to describe how we had come as tourists to run the rapids of the Rio Capone, and that more people would follow and enjoy the Zona Reina's cultural and natural attractions. These same speakers also used the occasion to send an unmistakable message to the Guatemalan government. Doors now open to tourists and river runners would remain slammed shut to dams and mines.
Las 86 comunidades están conformados, está organizado. ¿Pero de qué estamos organizados? Estamos organizados para defender nuestros recursos naturales, nuestros ríos, bosques.
Max took the microphone and spoke of our common bond.
Que lo único que queríamos hacer era navegar el río para conocer la belleza y poder apoyarlos a ustedes y traer oportunidades. Yo los invito a ustedes a que reflexionen un poco por lo que sucedió y aprendamos y demos un nuevo paso y caminar hacia el frente. Quiero que lo sepan que los queremos, los amamos. Yo soy guatemalteco, vivo buscando visitar a toda la familia, a todo el pueblo, porque todos somos familia. Todos somos guatemaltecos y tenemos que luchar para proteger y para poder preparar la tierra para los niños que vienen.
When put to the test, both while our lives were threatened and when given the opportunity to forgive and build alliances, Max showed his character. RIOS Guatemala had the leader it needed. We walked to a nearby pickup truck to receive the stolen items.
They say that they're ready and that they accept tourism to come to the areas now. That they were confused, they didn't really understand what was happening, and that they can see that, okay, tourism can come here. They've asked for our forgiveness. We've said that we are thankful and that we forgive them, and that we just hope that they learn from this and they're ready for a new opportunity to come to their area.
Dark clouds formed overhead and we hurried back to the helicopter. The weather prevented a flyover of the Rio Capone. The river remained elusive yet again. Another day, but with Kekchi leaders and a common purpose, the opportunities that wild rivers bring to their people.
Huge success. That's what's huge. We are.
I told him later, I was like, Max, I will forever remember that and, love you for that.
He's so full of energy and full of passion that he won't stop because he gets to know. So he's a guy that won't get enough for an answer, and he will keep going and going and trying and trying.
mentioned that over and over again, how important that was to him, for there to be an opportunity for these kids to get an education and not to spend every waking hour of their lives from childhood till death doing back-breaking labor in the fields.
There's nothing in the world that moves me more than my calling. It's not money, it's not power, it's not, having authority. It's just knowing that you're planting a seed in people's hearts. You're getting people to understand that if there's, a purpose in one drop of water to make a river flow, there's got to be a purpose in your life. And it doesn't matter how many times you fall in life, but what matters how much you get back up to make dreams come true.